Crusader Kings 3, published by Paradox Interactive, was released in 2020, and it may be the perfect strategy game. I know, that's a big statement, but I think CK3 has a very compelling case. Why? Let me tell you. Crusader Kings 3 is a grand strategy game, a subgenre of strategy games that focus on macro resources through controlling a state at the highest level, and Paradox is the premier publisher for grand strategy games. These games allow you to make high-level decisions about war, politics, economics, diplomacy, even culture, and focus on an extended period in time. Grand strategy itself is actually military theory that utilizes coordination of all a nation's resources for major goals as opposed to battle tactics. The Crusader Kings games themselves focus on the medieval period, and CK3 specifically allows you to start as early as 867 AD and play until 1453. What separates CK3 from all of Paradox's other games is that you aren't just controlling a state, you are playing as a character who rules that state. For instance, in Paradox's World War II game, Hearts of Iron 4, you can play as the US, or France, or Germany, etc. In Crusader Kings, you play as the ruler themselves. You can play as the King of England, the Tsar of Russia, the Emperor of the Byzantine Empire, or you can start out as a lowly count and work your way up. Already, it sounds pretty good. You can build your own state, invest in your property, and then you die. So, you pick up as your player heir, one of your last character's children or siblings that begin ruling after them. But what really puts it all together and makes it as good as it is, the role-playing aspect. Since you take control over a specific character instead of the state in general, you have to make decisions for them. Who are they going to marry? How are they going to raise and educate their children? How will they interact with their court and vassals? The possibilities are endless and the consequences are often ridiculous. For instance, I once did a playthrough starting as a count somewhere around modern-day Germany. A few hundred years later, through lifetimes of conquest and diplomacy, I had amassed a massive Polish empire. The only thing is, I never converted to Catholicism. I remained a Slovak pagan, and eventually even used my piety currency to reform that faith and name myself the head, which I could pass down to my player heir. I became so powerful that the papacy declared a crusade and ordered all of Christendom to attack. Since no other states in the game shared my faith, I lost pretty quickly. Ironically enough, that is one of the only times I've actually seen Christendom win a crusade in game. Plus, they add real historical events into the game for you to play around. If you start at the 867 start date in England, it's during the Viking invasion, and it's one of the hardest playthroughs built into the game. Additionally, events like the Black Death, or the invasion of the Mongol Empire, will throw a wrench in your plans and make you work around it. Sometimes large events that aren't historical at all occur naturally. I was doing a Central European playthrough, starting right around Great Moravia, and Carpathia, an empire of steppe people, formed very early. When my liege was taken over, I was eventually forced to convert to Taoism, the religion. I say forced with air quotes because I could have refused, but I was just a count at the time. If I wanted my line to survive the rise and fall of Carpathia, I needed to make sure my titles wouldn't be revoked for any reason, including my religion. Now I'm sure it sounds like a very complicated game at this point. All the discussion of titles and conquest can make it seem that way, but at least from the mindset of someone who enjoys history, the game is very approachable. The tutorial is helpful, but not invasive. The roleplay sucks you in and forces you to learn the game because you just can't stop playing. Plus, the naval mechanics are the simplest they could be. Hearts of Iron fans. From not just my experience, but also from what I've heard, CK3 is by far the most approachable and easy to play Paradox game. However, it has depth. When all the mechanics and systems are used to their fullest potential, the game becomes a beautiful world to conquer. The war mechanics are simple enough to grasp, but deep enough to get creative with. The intrigue mechanics allow you to sabotage other rulers and even murder them in order to sow discord, or take their title. The economics are a little complex, but nothing like Victoria. And the events like tournaments and feasts add just enough spice to the game to keep you hooked. The modding community is great, not as robust as say Skyrim or Fallout, but still very solid. Speaking of Skyrim, the Elder Scrolls Total Conversion mod for CK3, Elder Kings 2, is a really good way to change things up, and seems to be true to Elder Scrolls lore, I cannot recommend it enough. And while I haven't played it, I've heard the Game of Thrones Total Conversion mod is great as well. So try it if you have the opportunity. I've sunk hundreds of hours into CK3, and I don't see myself stopping anytime soon. If you feel like there's something I forgot or you disagree with me, feel free to let me know in the comments. I plan on continuing to make gaming videos, so let me know what games you'd like me to talk about next. Thanks for watching.